Hello, this is Dread, and in today's video topic, we're going to be going over what I believe to be the answer to my question that I've been having of late with this build. Now, before we get into the video, I want to mention something real quick. Sorry for the atrocious clear in the gameplay here for the mapping. That is because I am currently on a 4-link Scourge arrow for my clear. That is specifically because of the content that I'm doing, i.e. beasting and harbinger. It does not take much to actually function and to do well. So I'm only on a 4-link. I could be on a 6-link if I wanted to. It would just take a lot of messing around with my gems and 6-linking my Lionized Glare. Now, of course, the question that I had for myself for this build was, is just Pathfinder a better Deadeye? And the short question is technically no, but the long answer is maybe yes. Now, what am I talking about? Well, Deadeye recently, it's been really strong in the meta because, of course, it's bow league, everybody, with the Crucible trees being very favorable towards bows, Vengeance Cascade existing. So, of course, everyone and their mother is playing bow builds. And I was trying to play a Deadeye with this build specifically because we're playing Void Arrow. We want as many projectiles as possible, right? So we're like thinking to ourselves, all right, let's play a Deadeye. But after a while, we kind of realized, why don't we just play a Pathfinder? And what do I mean by that? Well, first things off, we can replace almost everything within, of course, Deadeye. And the first thing that we're going to replace is Far Shot. So Far Shot, if you don't know, is a node that we're abusing with this setup with Vengeance Cascade. It's actually one of the main reasons why Vengeance Cascade feels so good, is because of the 60% more damage multiplier. Because if you didn't know, the way Vengeance Cascade works is the projectile will whiz in front of you and then come back. And then when it makes the return trip, it will technically count as traveling a large amount of travel time for Far Shot, which gives it the more damage. So it makes it more efficient than point blank in the end for a lot of different setups. So the first thing we're replacing with that is, of course, the Lionized Glare. If you don't know, Lionized Glare was an okay bow back in the day, but they recently buffed it and added a lot of fizz DPS to the bow specifically. And of course, it has hits can't be evaded and Far Shot. So we swapped to that. That allowed us to make the swap to Pathfinder. Now, of course, we need to swap all of the other stuff in Deadeye as well. How do we get everything else? Well, the next thing that we get is, thankfully, our Dying Sun. Thanks to our 50% increased, of course, potion effect, right? We can get +3 projectiles from our Dying Sun, and it has about, I think it's like a 60% uptime. It has even better uptime if I manually cast it instead of putting it on use when charge is full, but it's a bit of a bother. So Dying Sun kind of replaces the +2 projectiles from Endless Munitions. And of course, for the last few things, the Tailwind that you get from being a Deadeye, you can get, of course, Tailwind boots, and you get about half of the effectiveness of Tailwind with that, which is pretty cool on a Pathfinder. So with a little bit more investment, we can get free Tailwind. And then for the last node, Focal Point, which is going to be required to making this build do about double the amount of damage that you're seeing in the clip, we're just simply going to Forbidden Flesh and Flame that. And of course, as well, there is mark effect on the tree. There is a decent amount of mark effect on the tree. So if you have some extra passives, you can actually kind of replace this as well. The only thing that Deadeye has up when it comes to this is being able to put Sniper's Mark on hit, and it makes your clear feel so much better. That's actually one of the reasons why my clear in this video looks worse, is because of the fact I don't have Sniper's Mark on hit currently, because I'm trying to refine the build for single target for bosses. So I'm fine with just self-casting the Sniper's Mark for now. Now, of course, what does this mean? Well, this means that Pathfinder at a larger investment could potentially just be better than Deadeye. Now, when you don't have gear, when you don't have currency, Deadeye is obviously the obvious choice when it comes to bow builds, because it gives you so much quality of life, so much damage, so much extra, of course, clear. But later on, when you start investing into your character, right, I've been more and more tempted to go Pathfinder, and I finally made the switch. I am now a Pathfinder. And I think the thing that really pushes Pathfinder over the edge is the access it has to, of course, the node that makes it so that your life recovery flask keeps going even if you're at max HP, like the enduring effect. This is really strong, and I really enjoy it so far. Right now we're running a Petrified Blood, so I may look like as though I have 3,800 HP, but we're actually a lot tankier than you think in the video. And that is because of Petrified Blood. So Petrified Blood, we're taking like 40% of hits over time, and that is of course mitigated by our Life Flask, and we have 100% uptime of that Life Flask, meaning that essentially with all of this extra sustain, we're gaining a lot of EHP, and this is kind of what pushes Pathfinder over the edge here when it comes to high investment. So for high investment gameplay, I really do think Pathfinder is going to win versus Deadeye, but I think early on, of course, you want to, of course, be Deadeye so that you get all the extra goodies. Now, of course, like I said, this requires a lot of investment. You got to like get, of course, all the extra effect for your potion to make the Dying Sun work. You got to get enough sustain to make the Dying Sun work. You also need to, of course, get Far Shot from a source, which, of course, we're using, Lion's Glare for that. You can also get the chain and other sources. Deadeye does have that really nice chain on it, and if you're required to use the chain, like if you need to use the chain, then Deadeye is a lot more of a like satisfying option. But with my build, I don't actually need the chain because the chain would brick my build, so we can't really go for the chain. But yeah, that's just really my thoughts on why I think Pathfinder will end up being the better Deadeye, at least for a lot of different bow builds. There are some where I think being a Deadeye would be better, right? But I really do think in the end, when you have enough investment, Pathfinder ends up kicking Deadeye's butt in a lot of different ways. And for the last part of this video, I actually wanted to showcase something today here, mainly in regards to my Thread of Hope. So I wanted to make this kind of like a double feature, as each of these topics aren't long enough for their own individual video. So let's talk about Thread of Hope. So as you can tell, we have a pretty ridiculous Thread of Hope spot. So I think this is by far the best Thread of Hope slot in the entire game currently, thanks to a lot of the changes. And that's mainly because of the change to this node where they added multi-shot. So attacks fire an additional projectile, and of course the addition of Master Fletcher. Both of these combined mean that, of course, we get 2 extra projectiles with our Thread of Hope, and there's a lot of other stuff that this gives us as well. So as we go around the circle here, we also get Split Shot access to it. If you're playing a build that's forking, it's just a bunch of extra projectiles, and you don't have to actually grab all these other nodes. You can also grab Piercing Shots, so not only do you get +2 projectiles, you also get +2 pierce. Then we go around the circle a little bit more. We get Perfectionist, which is some movement speed, and we can also get a chance to avoid stunned. This is about like 60% chance to avoid being stunned together. And then if we combine that with this is 28%. So this is about 88% chance to avoid stunned in the end if you have these nodes, which means with just like 1 affix on your jewel, you can actually be stun avoid for free if you have 3 extra passives. So we're going to keep going around the circle here. We can actually take Wind Dancer if we want to, probably not, but of course, Wind Dancer. We also get access to Aspect of the Eagle, which is just a bunch of attack speed and accuracy and stuff. And then, of course, we also get Quick Step, which is a very efficient node, as it not only gives us a bunch of suppression for free, it also gives us a bunch of movement speed for free. We also get access to One with Nature, which is just a very efficient node. And then we go down here, look at that. We also get Primeval Force, which is 50% increased elemental damage while you have a flask, right? All of this combined, I think, makes this one of the most busted Thread of Hope setups I think I've ever seen since like Thread of Hope was introduced into the game. Of course, you are missing out on the Legion Jewel here for all the extra dexterity and all that. You're also missing out on the Intuitive Leap as well. But I really do think that this is an insane setup for any bow build, as not only do you get +2 projectile, you also get the 100% chance to crit for free. I do have to path up here because I need the Mirror Arrow, Blink Arrow cooldown recovery rate for the build, and then also as well Split Shot, Piercing Shot, all this chance to avoid stuns, extra damage, suppress movement speed, crit damage. damage again, like all of that combined, I think is very, very like powerful for a Thread of Hope. So yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to show you guys is like Thread of Hope is pretty stupid right now. Now, all that being said, this has been, I think, the video for me. Bye, guys.